Hi everyone! We're going to recap just a little bit before we get into solving inequalities today. So let's talk about solving equations. We went over already 1 and 2 step equations. So let's recap what we've learned about solving equations so far. We know to solve an equation, we want to get the variable, which is often x, by itself. We've learned that to get the variable by itself, we use inverse or opposite operations. And don't forget our inverses. Addition and subtraction are inverses. Multiplication and division are inverses. Now, when we get to solving inequalities, we use exactly the same steps we did before. There's just a couple of extra things we have to remember when we see an inequality symbol. So, what's different about solving inequalities? Well, you have a symbol. So, for our solution for an equation is a single number. Our solution for an inequality is a set of points. So it's not just one number. Here, on the left, we have x equals 3. When x equals 3, we have a point at 3. Now over on the right, we have x is less than or equal to 3. So our point is still at 3, and as we'll talk about in a moment, since it says or equal to, we put a closed circle. And then the direction, if our variable is on the left, our direction of our inequality symbol is also the direction of our arrow. So because it's pointing to the left, it's a left arrow, so I can draw towards the left from that point. Now, remember our points. When we are doing an inequality on a number line, a closed circle includes the number. So that's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. An open circle does not include the number. So if it had said x was less than 3, I would have an open circle because 3 doesn't count as a solution. All right, so let's practice a little bit. Here we have x is less than 0. So there is no or equal to. So I want to open circle at 0. My variable is on the left. We're going to get in the habit of always putting our variable on the left-hand side. So now it is pointing towards the left, so that's the direction I draw my line on the number line. Up here, we have x is greater than 0. Again, not equal to, so I have to use an open circle. And that, since the variable is on the left, that inequality symbol is pointing towards the right, so I draw my line to the right side. Down here for the bottom left, we have x is less than or equal to 0. So 0 counts as part of our solution. So I have to have a closed circle. And the variable again is on the left and it's pointing towards the left. So I'm going to go in the direction that arrow points. So I'm going to draw my line out to the left. Our last one, x is greater than or equal to 0. Again, or equal to means closed circle. 0 counts as a solution. And it gets to be greater than. Variable on the left, our inequality symbol is pointing to the right. So I'm going to draw my line out to the right side of that point that I made. All right, let's keep going. So our special rules we have to remember when solving inequalities. If the variable is on the right, we saw that when it was on the left, then the symbol helps us to be able to plot that on a number line. So we always want to keep the variable on the left. If it's on the right, whatever direction of the symbol is next to the variable, you keep next to the variable when we rewrite it. Let's look at one. Here we have 6 is less than x. Okay, so I want to move x to the left side. I can't just switch places because then it would say x is less than 6. Well, 6 is less than x. That doesn't work. Here I see the open end of my symbol, our alligator's mouth, if you will, is pointed towards x. So when I rewrite it, that open end, that alligator's mouth, has to be pointed towards x. So I want x is greater than 6. You see on both of these, the open end of the variable is towards x, and the pointed end is towards the 6. So we did that right. The second thing we have to remember is when we multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip the symbol. So if we had a negative m is greater than or equal to 4. Negative m is the same thing as negative 1m. I've got to get rid of that negative, so I'm going to divide by negative 1 on both sides. anytime I divide by a negative, whether it be -1, -2, -5, -50, it doesn't matter. I have to flip that symbol. So when I get that, I get m, and 4 divided by -1 is -4. My negatives had canceled on my left side. So I have to flip the symbol. I have the open end, the alligator's mouth, towards m. So I want to have that pointed the other way. So instead of pointing towards 4, now it's going to point towards m. The open end, instead of being towards m, will be towards 4, or -4. All right. So we see here our symbol flipped. Our m is still on the left for both, but because we divided by a -1, our symbol flips. So let's try one of these. All right. So again, with our tips, box in the variable. Draw a line down from the inequality symbol, very much like we did solving equations. Okay, here I have a -4 on the bottom. So I have division. To undo division, I need multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by -4. So here, my -4's cancel. On the other side, 6 times -4 is -24. I can bring down my x. Now I multiplied by a negative. So when we multiply by a negative, we have to remember to flip the symbol. So instead of pointing towards 6, it will point towards x. So my open end here was beside x. Now my open end is beside my -24 because I wanted to flip that symbol around after multiplying by a negative. So x is less than or equal to -24 as our answer. Remember, if you have a line under the original symbol, you have to bring it down for your answer. If there's no line, then you don't. We'll talk about that in our other examples as well. All right, so we draw out our number line. And the line underneath means it includes -24, so I want a closed circle at -24. X is on the left, which means I can draw with my arrow pointed to the left. So it goes in the same direction as my symbol. All right, let's try another one. Here we have 21 is less than or equal to 3z. So we want to rewrite it with the variable on the left side. If you notice, the arrow part of the symbol is pointed away from the variable. So when I rewrite it, I want to see the arrow pointed away from the variable. So that open end, that alligator's mouth, if you will, is next to our 3z when we rewrite it as well. All right, now back to the same steps we did before. Box in our variable. Draw a line down from the inequality symbol. Here we have multiplication, and we need the inverse, division. So I'm going to divide both sides by the number that is multiplied with z. So I divide by 3, both on the left and the right. Our 3's cancel. On the other side, 21 divided by 3 is 7. Now, I did not multiply by a negative. I did not divide by a negative, which means the symbol is going to stay the same as it was in our previous step. So it just comes straight down. Z is greater than or equal to 7. We have our answer. Draw out our number line. And the line underneath, in the original, I make sure my answer has the line underneath. That means it includes 7, so that's a closed circle. And my variable is still on the left, which means I can use the arrow, so it's pointing to the right. So I draw my line to the right on that number line. All right, guys, one more. 6x plus 3 is less than 33. All right, we don't have to rewrite it. The variable is already on the left. We want to box in the variable. We want to draw a line down from the inequality symbol. Here, we look at what's furthest away. So our furthest number away from x is our positive 3. So plus 3, we use minus 3 on both sides. Our 3's cancel. 33 minus 3 is 30. My 6x can come on down, as can my symbol, because I did not change anything. I subtracted. I did not multiply or divide by a negative, so no changes to my symbol. All right, next we do the variable, the number that's closest to x, our last remaining operation, 6x, that's multiplication. So we want to use division. divide both sides by 6. Our 6's cancel. 30 divided by 6 gives me 5. I bring down x, and since I didn't do any multiplication or division with a negative number, I don't change my symbol. So the symbol stays the same. It did not have a line under it in the original problem, so I'm not going to draw a line under it here either. X is less than 5 is our final answer. Now we draw our number line. There is no line underneath, so I want an open circle at 5. Our variable's on the left, which means we can use our symbol to tell us our direction, and our direction goes towards the left as well. All right, that is it for solving 1- and 2-step inequalities. Thanks, guys, for bearing with me. Have a great day.